Hey, hey.
Good evening.
Hello, everybody.
Let's see. Hi, Sean.
What's up, Sean?
Looks like they changed the formatting for sharing this thing out again.
Oh, jeez.
Well, actually, this time I think it may actually be for the better.
Oh, really? Because I was going to say usually a lot of times it's for the batter.
Usually it is, yes.
Dodging storms. Yeah, I know down in Oklahoma and Kansas, they have been hit hard with all these storms and tornadoes. Jeez.
There was one in Alabama. I know Miami, Oklahoma got hit. My daughter-in-law texted me that it got hit, and then she never texted me back. I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, we don't do this.
I know Oklahoma City was also hit too, along with the hardest hits like Bartlesville and Sulphur and Barnes. I forgot what the third one was.
Yeah, Bartlesville is like it's a beacon for it.
Yeah. Barnsdale, that's what it was.
I don't know that one.
Hits. Yeah, Barnsdale, Bartlesville, and Sulphur, they were the hardest hits.
I remember hearing about sulfur.
Yep. I was just about to say this, Sean. They have rated it was an EF4 on the scale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This year's been bad.
It has been really bad.
Yeah, it's been raining here most of the day. A lot of it light rain. There was a couple times where it was coming down pretty hard.
It's been raining over here too, so it's been pretty light. Yeah, it hit twice in 1 month there, Barnsdale. Jeez.
That sounds like Florida a couple times when it gets the hurricane season.
Yep, hurricane season. Yep.
But we are just now. We're in the spring, a little over a month away from going into summer. We're right there in the birth of tornado time.
Yeah. Well, and hurricane time too. I mean, even though the hurricane season doesn't start till June, I saw something a few days ago that there was some invest going off the Leeward Islands off South America, and they're not saying exactly, but it may be an early start for the hurricane season too.
It needs to stop.
I just saw a headline. I don't know the details of it, but I just saw a headline, something about warm weather coming out of China.
Huh.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Let me see.
We are still in early May. Of course, I also heard not only Kansas and Oklahoma, but I mean Nebraska and Texas as well. I mean, entire area of Tornado Alley is really getting hit.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it. It came across the screen very, very briefly. I just saw something about weather in China is causing the air to get warmer or something. And it is nowhere to be found.
Well, they need to keep all that stuff over there.
What was that?
I said they need to keep all their stuff over there. Michigan somewhere took a hit.
Yeah, they definitely need to stop.
Michigan took a hit too? Seriously?
Yeah, this year's been bad.
Yeah, I know Wisconsin did. I didn't know Michigan was hit too.
Let's see here.
And Adrian, you're actually right. And when you said that there was one down in Alabama, I know that because I know she sent the same video. Terry sent me that video of all the cicadas on her driveway.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Holy cow. That was a reveal. It literally does look like the driveway is completely alive with those things.
You ought to try talking to her while those things are there. It sounds like a UFO is coming to get her.
She sent me the audio for that, too. It was such a haunting noise.
we actually did a really long video of it, and she there's only room for one woman right now, Sean. As soon as she gets her person trained, she will. But yeah, what was I saying?
Oh, you were saying about the video that you guys got a longer video of it.
She got an audio. It was for quite a long time, and it made really good meditation music.
I actually said, as eerie and I'm sure as loud as it must have sounded in person, it also kind of sounded soothing at the same time. Just that constant singing from the cicadas.
This morning they were dead. Like they were all on the ground dead.
There was some moving.
Some, but not very many. And finally I asked her, I said, okay, let's look at this, because when does this brood is supposed to die? And it was like 2 to 3 weeks. They were only there a few weeks. And I guess they plant their eggs, they mate, come out, mate, plant their eggs in the ground. 17 years later, they'll come back out and do the same thing, but they have no mouths.
Yeah.
So they can't eat. They can't, well, I mean, they can drink.
They have a proboscis where they could suck the sap out of trees.
Yeah. They're here to feed the world.
Yeah. Well, they're even saying even the dead ones, they're actually environmental. Well, they're beneficial to the environment. So they're even telling people, like, yeah, if you get them on your porch, you have to sweep them to the grass because they have a lot of nutrients in them, and that's feeding the environment. And even though they're all dead now, that doesn't mean, though, that there's the second brood that's supposed to come out, the 13-year ones. And I told Terry, I mean, we haven't gotten them yet. I mean, but that's going to be us in a couple weeks.
I know they said 13 and 17 are coming out together.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a rare event.
17. How does that even work? 113, 117.
It's a rare event as far as I know, and they say this is the first time in over 220 years that both broods are coming out. Last time was back in 1803, which was, you think about it, was Thomas Jefferson was president. There was the Louisiana Purchase during one of Lewis and Clark's expeditions, and Ohio became the 17th state. And they're already saying when the next time this is going to happen, this will be long after we're gone. Next time this will happen again will be in 2265.
It makes you wonder, like, what did the people think 200 years ago when this happened? Because there was no science behind it back then. I mean,
there was nothing behind anything back then.
I often wonder if Lewis and Clark experienced them on one of their journeys. They had to, or wonder what Thomas Jefferson would have thought.
And no, Brad, we are not going to have a bad echo this week. But
what?
Yeah. Hello. I can't find that specific article, but I am coming across where China is expecting extreme weather this year, and extreme as in really, really hot.
Okay.
So
we want to hear about your experience with your dad. If we have time, we'll get back to whatever bugs.
Okay. So as you can see, I am wearing a different shirt today. This is the shirt that I was wearing for the Honor flight.
Oh,
nice. I love it.
Yeah, and then there's a thing on the back.
Honor Flight Guardian.
Yeah, so the way that Honor flights go, the veterans go, and they basically have a guest go with them, and that guest is the Guardian. The Guardian basically watches over their veteran throughout the whole day. Push wheelchairs, whatever. Basically, we are the boss of the Guardian. It's typically like your regular caretaker. You know how if somebody has a caretaker, that caretaker basically does everything for them when they take them wherever. That's basically what we were. So we had to be at the air base at 5 in the morning.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
it
So,
had been exhausting.
so this guy here, how the hell are you back up there in that corner?
I didn't move it. I swear to you, I did not move it. It
Yeah,
happens when the intro ends.
Everybody off and bring him back on. I don't.
Yeah, it happens when the intro. Like I'm down here and the intro plays, and then all of a sudden I'm back up in the corner again.
I think it may have something to do with. Maybe it's because you're on this StreamYard a lot more frequently than Adrian is, and in that case, you are generally in that position. So maybe StreamYard is recognizing your specific IP address and placing you there in that spot.
It likes me essentially. That's what you're saying. I know.
Just like for me, every time I come on, it always puts me in that corner.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I had to set my alarm for 1 a.m.
Ugh.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I didn't have to. I chose to because I wanted to get my writing in done before we go. And I got all my writing in record time that morning. And of course, I had to take a shower, get the last of everything all packed up. Got over to Dad's house. He was almost completely ready. Well, we packed a bag the day before. We also had to take Angelia to respite care of the day. And I was in bed by 7:30. Yeah.
Wow.
So keep in mind,
Robert?
we are in that time where it is still daylight at, well, actually it's still somewhat daylight out now. It is 8:30. So it is a pain in the ass trying to go to sleep while it's still daylight out. But I had my ZQL, or actually, in this case, I took NyQuil because I was coming down with a sinus cold. Yeah.
Wow.
For that, you may remember me talking about Dad's arm being swollen and everything.
Yep. Yep.
It literally started 3 days, no, the Friday before we left. So 5 days before we left. So he had to have his arm wrapped up. Did those compression socks, cut off the toes and put it on that whole time. So we get to the air base at 5 in the morning, and normally it's a pain in the ass getting into the air base. You come in, you got to show them your ID, then everybody out of the car, they got to inspect your car and everything like that. Not the case this time around. Show them our IDs. Our IDs matched the names that they had on their list. Handed it back. Okay, just go this way, go in that direction, follow the signs, and it'll take you right where you need to be. When we got in there, Dad got out first. I pulled right up to the building. Dad got out so that he could get his wheelchair for the day because there is no way in hell he's going to be able to walk. It was a lot of walking that day.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think a bunch of us estimated about 5 miles altogether. So we get in there. Not the last ones there. Everybody had to be on it by 5:15. We got there right at 5. We get in there. Dad got his shirt. Then we go into I'm guessing it's the commons room, is where they serve us breakfast. Then There was a little photo session where all the veterans and their guardians go in to get pictures taken, and they show us a little video package. One of the lady guard members sang the national anthem for us, and then somebody came up and actually did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wow.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the Pledge of Allegiance in 30 years.
Oh gosh.
It's school, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we, when I was in grade school, we did it, but when I moved up into middle school, nothing.
Yeah.
We never did it in middle school, never did it in high school. I honestly don't recall the last time I recited the Pledge of Allegiance.
I think that was me in elementary school as well. And we did in middle school, but not, I don't think we did it in high school.
I don't know. So we had breakfast. It was biscuits and gravy, sausage, quite good. Then it was time to go. This is where our little adventure starts. There's a whole bunch of little shuttle buses to take us to the airline. They said that we would be flying out of the airbase. Not true. We met at the airbase, and then they drove us out to the plane on the actual airport concourse area, I guess is what it's called, where the runway is at. When we had our Guardian meeting, we had a demonstration on how to work the wheelchairs, where all the locks are at. Then the wheelchairs that they gave us was not the same kind of wheelchair.
Wow.
Normally, regular wheelchairs have just that single lock on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The one that we had, after we found out, there were 2 locks on each wheel. So I only knew to lock the one wheel. I didn't even know about the other one. So we get going. All of a sudden, I'm hearing my dad scream.
Gosh.
Oh no, jeez.
The bus driver pressed down on the gas just a little too quick, so you get that fast jerking motion on the bus. The lock that I had was on the back.
Oh, yeah. See, I can see where this is going too, Robert.
Which left the front wide open. Dad pops a wheelie. There was another person behind him, so it kept him from falling all the way down. So naturally, I quickly got up and, oh, shit, what is this other thing? That's when I found out, oh, this thing has 2 locking mechanisms on this wheelchair. And that wasn't really good for him because he's got a very, very bad spine in his neck.
Tomorrow, you'll see showers.
Alexa,
You can
stop.
expect a high of 63 degrees Fahrenheit and very
Alexa, stop. He said he fixed this. Do you see what time it is right now? It's now 6:30 a.m.
Hey, Brad.
I was just about to say, just be glad. Hopefully, Brad's still not watching.
Well, he
That's
was
just
5 minutes ago.
He was, yeah.
So let me see if I can pull up all these pictures here that that I have. Oh, yeah, that's right. They're not in order. Yay.
No, don't you hate it when it comes to pictures that you thought you had in order when they show up, they don't?
Well, there's my pictures, and then there are the pictures and videos that I took from the Honor Flight page.
Okay.
So they all got jumbled up. Let's see here. So here's the plane. This is me, and Dad's right here.
Okay.
So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of people here, guardsmen with flags on both sides, and we go in between them, and then we gotta go up this ramp all the way up. This guy actually wheeled Dad up for me.
Looks like it was cool that day because I see everybody's like in
He was
jackets
afraid-
and all.
It
He
was
was afraid you would mess that brake up again.
Was
What were you
He
gonna
was
say though?
afraid you wouldn't put that brake on again. That's a hell of a way up there.
But anyways, it looks like it was cold that day.
It was in the mid 40s that morning.
Yuck.
Yeah. But
makes
in
sense.
Washington, it was perfect.
Oh yeah, I heard it was nice over there.
Yeah, Washington, perfect weather all the way through, nice and sunny. Hardly any clouds, at least that I recall. My pictures may show otherwise, but hardly any clouds. We could not have asked for a better day.
That's awesome.
So we get there, then let's see here. They have a video.
Robert also said it's odd that they didn't chain the wheelchair down. They do that in the wheelchair taxis here.
Yeah.
Well, this was in the shuttle bus.
Yeah. I think he was talking about the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. Some do, but I don't think it was necessary for that little jaunt you were doing.
All right. So here's the send off that we were getting. Watch this guy right here. This is funny. Watch her and then watch this guy. Boom.
Wait,
Boot.
you put I which
Good
person?
for her.
Wait, play that again. I didn't know where exactly am I looking?
Okay.
The woman in the back?
Look at this person right here
Oh, okay.
is going to nudge this person right here.
Okay.
You hit her back too.
It's like, come
Oh,
on.
he wasn't.
Yeah, you're supposed to be saluting. Come on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny.
I thought it was funny. And I wondered how many people would catch that.
No one did, I assume, other than you.
I'm sure somebody had to have seen it. I thought it was just funny. It had that little extra special touch to the video that I made.
Oh, yeah.
So we take off, and
He wasn't fully awake.
oh, he was early in the morning.
Hat on the butt.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that too.
So So we fly. It's only 55-minute flight, and I brought a book with me because I figure, okay, I'll have about an hour reading to do on the flight. What a lot of people do. Not going to happen. Most of the time that we were up in the air, there was at least one person on the PA system, and they were doing these little storytelling and joke telling about some of the stupid stuff people did while they were enlisted and things like that, telling jokes and also doing a little bit of singing.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Who would have thought on a plane?
Yeah, which I thought was good that they did that. Kept everybody busy, kept everybody engaged. And okay, close my book, put it back in the bag. I'm not going to be able to read. But I also strike up a conversation with the guy that was sitting next to me, and I noticed what he was trying to do before he ended up putting his iPad away is that he was working on Bible translations. And he was working on translations for 4 different languages.
Mm-hmm.
And what he was doing was trying to keep everything translated to where it wasn't trying to push one language's idea over on top of another. He's trying to make sure that everything is translated to where all 4 languages said the exact same thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is not easy.
No.
So we descend, we land into the Baltimore airport, I think it was. It wasn't in Washington, D.C. We landed in Maryland.
I was going to say, I think Maryland would have been the closest to Washington, D.C.
Well, Baltimore is right there. No,
Yeah, exactly. Baltimore is, yeah.
Is it Baltimore?
I think. No, wait. Or is it
Arlington.
What? Yeah.
Flew to the
Arlington.
Arlington National Airport.
Arlington. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were on one side of the, what's the name of that? Potomac River.
Okay.
I think I pronounced that right, Potomac River. And because the first couple places that we were going to be stopping at were on the west side of that river, which is not in Washington, D.C. So we come out of the terminal. As soon as we get off of that, you know that little thing that you walk through, you get out.
Like a catwalk or whatever that thing is called. Yeah.
We come out. There's a whole bunch of people out there applauding everybody, applauding the veterans as they come out. We get out. We find our buses. We were separated in 4 different buses: red, white, blue, and yellow.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I understand red, white, and blue. What the
Yeah,
hell's
what's
with
the yellow?
yellow?
They probably had to come up with a 4th color because we had so many people.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, you could consider it like Golden Star, maybe, or something like that.
Well, or the yellow ribbons that the women used to tie around the trees for their
Yep.
man to come home.
That
Yeah.
could be it. We were on the second bus. We get into the second bus. Excuse me, motor coach.
Yellow
Did
Brick
you get a
Road.
different country?
No, the guy that was driving this particular bus, he introduced himself to everybody after we all got loaded on. He said, "I am your motor coach operator. Again, I am your motor coach operator." He always said it. He said, "I am not a bus driver. I am a motor coach operator."
Just a motor coat operator. That's it.
Same,
Nothing
it's
else.
the same bus. It's the same wheels.
If it walks like a duck,
It talks like a duck. Then what do you think it could be?
it must be a
Wow.
It must be a what?
goose. No, my guess is this guy did not like the term bus driver, which, I can get that. A bus driver is not necessarily seen as high up.
Yeah.
Neither is a motor coach operator.
Unless it has a self-driving operations, it's a bus.
Hey, I am not arguing.
Karaoke flights.
I could do that.
And if you look to your right, you might see where the warthog blew its nose off.
Which we did get a lot of, not the warthog part.
And Chris makes a good point. You took the damn job, accept the facts.
Well, I look at it like this. I'm a customer service person.
Yeah.
My paycheck says I like my job. So I don't give a shit what they call me.
Well, it's basically the same thing as a garbage man being referred to as a sanitation engineer.
Yeah, Zach, that's what
Yep,
Zach did
you're right.
before his
It's
accident. And he's like, I don't give a shit what they call me. I got my paycheck.
it's just a fancy,
It's ridiculous.
better sounding name than what the actual job is.
Yep.
So well, you're not going to get any argument from me one way or the other. I don't care. But he very nice guy, very funny. And each bus motor coach,
Hi, Rich.
What's up, Rich?
hello, each one had their own tour guide. So we had a tour guide that had been there for 20 some years now. He was originally from Texas, and I forget what he said that he did before, but he retired, which he was far too young to retire.
How old do you think the guy was?
I would say this guy might have been in his late 40s.
Okay.
Chris and Robert, I'm going to tell y'all something. If you're talking about me, we're going to have a talk later.
Well, it's taxi driver, Uber driver,
Lyft driver.
same thing.
Yep. Cab driver.
So we get out of the airport, and right away I can tell driving in this traffic is going to be interesting. And it turned out I was right. There were some instances that almost reminded me of the time that I was driving through New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. So our driver is getting ready to get out onto the highway, and we got all these cars coming nonstop. Then all of a sudden he starts pulling out, and these people come up to a stop, probably less than 3 feet away from bumper to wheel,
Oh my God.
and them honking the horn. I'm thinking, okay, I can see how this is going to go for the day. And it did.
Well, it's Washington, D.C. They should have blocked the roads off.
Yeah, they should have.
I don't think Honor Flight is quite to where they can be able to do something like that.
I think that's why Zach and them going to the airport and stuff in Denver had the bikers in front of them. They were clearing it.
Yeah, we didn't have anything like that. Would have been nice.
Yeah, yeah.
That was them coming out of the airport. We were already on the road getting onto the highway.
Sounds like the taxi driver we had in Brisbane.
What Zach was doing was just to get them out of the airport. That part wasn't a problem.
No, it was getting them to the airport through Denver.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even have that. What the real fun part was trying to go through the roundabouts in 4 big ass buses.
I don't understand those things. I hate those things. They've started them here, and there is no damn point in them besides to get more accidents.
Yeah.
Them if they're used sporadically, but down in Indianapolis, there's 20 of them inside of a mile.
Yeah, there is
God.
here too. There is in other towns. And okay, red, stop. Yellow, you need to get ready to stop. Green, go. This is not, people do not know how to do those roundabouts. I'm one of them. I will cause an accident.
I'm okay with roundabouts, but I'm the kind of guy that will stop before I'm getting in there.
Yeah.
I want to make sure there's nobody else coming. People behind me don't
And you're
like
not supposed to do that. I get yelled at.
Yeah, what? Yeah,
I mean, those areas are maddening. Are maddening. I know that for a fact.
the ones down in Indy, they are terrible.
Well, we got one just a few miles from here out in Mount Prospect. And what's kind of crazy is that I don't know if you guys have ever. I don't know if you
One, right?
just one, but still, even one.
Good, Nick.
Well, no, even one alone is like drives a lot of people crazy.
Imagine the whole town being that way.
Yeah. Which is that's the reason why I don't know if you guys have ever heard this term. That's the reason why they sometimes call them suicide circles, because they're just
I believe that.
Boston, they are terrible according to what Tom says in Boston.
So holy cow, we're already at 10 till.
Yeah, I know. Middle finger works well in those situations. I don't know about that, Sean.
So we're driving out. Our first stop of the day is Arlington National Cemetery.
Yes.
To me, that was for me, that was the one place out of every other place that I would want to go to. And that was our first stop. We go in there, and it turns out, you know how everywhere you look, it's the exact same headstone and they're all lined up perfect.
Yep.
It is not the case. They are all lined up like that, but not every headstone is exactly the same. The family have the option to either have that headstone or through their expenses can have their own headstone put in there.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. They never show that.
No.
I never knew that either.
But there's a lot of them because there are plenty of bigger headstones out there. It's an option that they give to the family. You can either take this standard headstone that we have, or you can pay for your own headstone. And there's quite a few of them out there.
I think
I
I
can
would take
imagine.
the standard just because that's an honor.
Yeah.
and it's just amazing the way that they line them up. That no matter what direction you're looking, it is all perfectly straight.
Right.
That took some engineering.
It really did.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
That was our last stop there in the cemetery. Before we got there, we got to take a look at some of the different ones. The one that my dad wanted to see was Audrey Murphy's headstone. Cowboy actor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Buried right there in this one spot, and I actually have this picture right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Check that out.
So this is what I was talking about, the sock that's on Dad's arm.
Oh yeah, yeah. It looks like almost like a cast.
It does, yeah. So, and Audie Murphy, if you're not familiar with the name, he was a very popular and prominent actor in Hollywood. Did countless cowboy movies, and I didn't realize that he wasn't that old when he died.
No, but
Well-
it wasn't. Well, okay, so
Yeah, no,
we're not
he
gonna go
wasn't.
there, but it wasn't that long ago for me either. It's before me, but I thought it was long before that.
Yeah, and look at all these letters here that follow him. He got the Medal of Honor.
Yep.
So
It's like he's got everything.
yeah,
He acted after that, I believe, right?
he did. He did. So that was the one that he wanted to see, and the one that I wanted to see was the Challenger tribute.
Yeah, Rich. Most decorated soldier ever. Oh wow. Look at that.
But they're not buried there, right?
Not that I know of.
Challenger.
Challenger was a rocket spaceship.
Yep.
That's what we
Blew
called
up
it.
in the
Yes.
sky.
Um,
1986.
blew up when it was going up, and the sad part about it, not the saddest part about it, sad part about it for the living, was we were all in school and every one of our teachers had the TV on.
Yep, I seen that
Everybody
in
that was in
documentaries.
school.
I seen that in documentaries, and that was a truly tragic event.
I believe I was in 5th grade.
And the engineers that made the O-rings for the rockets,
Yep.
they tried to stop the launch the night before.
Robert said he saw it as
See,
well.
we didn't know that until years later. Like,
Yeah, the O-rings.
I mean, recently.
Robert said he saw it as well. I mean, this was a worldwide event, so this was viewed all over the
It
world live when this happened.
It was. And of course, 5th and 6th grade, the older kids, they knew what happened.
Yeah,
Us
the
as
younger
5th graders,
kids.
we were like, oh, it blew up. But we didn't connect the ramifications of what actually just happened.
Well,
Thomas College in Ohio.
Dad was actually outside and he watched. No,
Hey, Paul.
yeah, Dad watched it from one area, and Mom, I think, watched it on TV. But
Mhm.
when Dad watched it and seen it blow up, he
Oh,
thought that was the separation of.
right.
I think a lot of people thought that.
And if you look closely, one of the rockets is still moving in swirls
In the air.
Yeah.
Did they ever recover their bodies? They didn't, did they?
I think they covered most of them, but I think the others that weren't were literally incinerated. They're even saying that it was even possible that
No.
they even said it was possible that supposedly
It
the-
was said
the-
that some of them had, or if not all of them, survived.
that's what I was about to say. They said that they might have survived the initial explosion, But as they were coming down, I mean, they had no parachute, so they would have, next thing you know, they would have fallen to their deaths.
That's awful.
So
Truly horrible death.
They had that. They also had the tribute for Columbia.
Oh, Columbia.
Yeah, they had that one there. Then they also had other things for like the sinking of one of the which one is it?
All government projects.
Like warships or which one?
It's Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, USS Maine. Okay.
Yeah. It's got a bunch of letters in there saying the year, but can't make out what year is. MDCCC XC VII. So it's 19 something 8. I know that much.
State, Richmond was stationed on a Navy cruiser while in the Marines.
So there was all kinds of tributes, and then at 9:45, we had to be in this one spot so that we can go and see the changing of the guard. So we go around to see the changing of the guard, and the guy that's going back and forth, he is literally just floating across that walk path. There is no fluctuation in his head. It is there and moving. He is floating.
I wonder how they train for that, or how
Yeah.
long.
A lot of training.
I'm sure.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Here, I'll be back in just a second.
Then the actual changing takes place. Next guy comes over. He moved more like a robot.
Oh,
He's still kind of gliding through, but he didn't have quite the grace as the first guy did. And also as he's walking, you hear his heel click the concrete with every step. The first guy we did not. He was just smooth as smooth could be.
huh. I wonder, was he older? Was the first guy older?
It was impossible to tell.
Oh, wow.
They both look so young. It's impossible to tell because for the changing of the guard, you have to be of a certain build, certain height, certain waist length, because you have to wear this type of outfit.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have some burly guy out there doing the guard. And I had seen these videos on TikTok so many times. They did the changing, and I thought that was it. That was only half of the ceremony. The other half of the ceremony was where they come out and bring the wreath and change out the wreath that's set in front of the unknown tomb. And when they do these wreath things, they bring out some random kids from a school that's field tripping out there, which there was a lot of them throughout the day. There was probably 5 schools alone right there in that cemetery. So these kids come out and they take part of the ceremony. The guy that does that 21 inspection thing, after he's done with them, he goes up and talks to these kids that have been selected for this and explains everything to them while the second guy is doing his first couple rounds. And then they start the second half of the cemetery. The guy that had been relieved, he's not done. He's going back and getting the wreath and bringing it out with another person with him.
Oh man.
And that other person is holding the trumpet. So they go through the ceremony. Now the kids are done. they do some more things, and then the inspector goes and talks to some of the veterans that are on our flight, and now they're coming out to take part of the last part of this ceremony, where they do this final tribute to the unknown soldier, and that's where this guy brings up his trumpet and plays taps. And I'm capturing all of this on video, as you would have seen in that big ass video that I made if you guys watched it all the way through. Everybody's doing their salute. All of our veterans are saluting. And I thought, this is perfect. I get Dad from behind doing his salute, and that's where the idea of how the entire video comes in. So,
how long are they out there?
During the summer, they change guards every 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then in the wintertime, every hour.
Okay. That's awful.
Yeah, really.
Summer.
Yeah. And I don't know how many they do through the day, if it's just 2 guys or how many they have. So after all of that is done, now we go back to the bus, and we go to the Iwo Jima Memorial. This thing is big. Pulling it up.
Whoa, that's huge.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Now, here's what most people don't realize about the Iwo Jima flag raising. This statue right here is based on the second raising of the flag. They actually did it twice. I forget why they did it twice, but this is based off of the second. So, and it's also here where we're having lunch.
It's like a picnic almost of some sort. That's correct?
Yeah, more or less. More or less, only there's no picnic tables or anything like that. It's just wherever you can find to sit.
Okay.
So a whole bunch of us are actually coming over here to eat, and then we get told that we can't eat beyond this line right here.
Really?
We have to be back here somewhere. So we go, we ate, we had Arby's.
Oh, what just
but yeah.
Now, here's just an interesting question I have. I mean, and not just regards for your dad, but for all the veterans, since I could see that they're wearing a lot of the same shirts.
Yes.
The one question, like
shirts, and Guardians are all wearing these light blue shirts.
Yeah, what I was going to ask, like for others, did they have like a photo, like an image of the states that they were from, like it is for Indiana? Do they have that for like people from other states or whatever?
But we were all from Indiana.
Oh, all from Indiana. Okay, I thought this was. I was thinking that if it was from people from different parts of the country that were coming out to it.
No, 44 states have their own honor flight hubs.
Okay.
Altogether, there's 128, 129 honor flight hubs throughout 44 states.
Okay.
Okay. So I found out, from what I could see anyway, I found out that the reason that they did it the second time, and see if this resonates. The first time they did it, the photographer could not get the picture fast enough. So they had to do it again.
That could be it. I honestly don't remember what the guy said.
That's the history I'm getting anyway.
Well, Rach also says the first flag was smaller.
I think it was the same one.
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna have to look.
Normally, I know about a lot about the history, but that I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not either.
So we're getting ready to leave, and there's get this one. This place has a bathroom setting.
Mm-hmm.
The doors are locked.
Oh no!
Nobody can get into the bathroom. Well, luckily, each of our each bus has its own bathroom. So we do have that, but the bathrooms were locked here at this place. Nobody knows why they would have been locked, because they knew we were coming. We get there. As soon as we get there, somebody tries to go to the bathroom, found out it's locked. Hey, it's locked. So one of our volunteers called somebody to have them come out and lock. We were there for 45 minutes. That person did not get there. And the first thing that comes to my mind is that when you have these memorial parks, aren't you supposed to have like some sort of a groundskeeper on the property at all times
Yeah,
during the day?
that's what I would think.
We never saw one.
That's weird.
Yeah. So
Rich, you're right. You're right. I was just looking at that, and the first one. Yep, you're right.
So it was like, okay, well, there are bathrooms at this next place we're going to, and they are never locked. They can't be locked. And that is at the Pentagon. I did not know we were going to the Pentagon.
Wow.
Yeah. We weren't going in the Pentagon. There's is a memorial thing on the side of the Pentagon that got hit. And the way that they did this memorial is so unique.
I was going to say, you got a picture of it?
This is where we're at the Pentagon. So see this bench?
Yeah.
Now look at this bench.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
It's facing different directions.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, here's how they did this. These benches represent one person that was killed during that attack, whether they was on the plane or in the building itself. And they also did it by age of the people. So this one here is the bench of the oldest person that was killed in this particular attack. And he also happened to be the captain of the airplane.
Oh, man. Jeez.
The youngest person, who was 3, is way over here somewhere.
Oh, my God.
So they did this all by year. Now, it's kind of hard to tell, but each person's name is engraved right here.
Is that water underneath it, or what is it? Yeah.
They have water running underneath each one of these things here. Now, here is the awesome part. It is so subtle that you would never know it. But with these benches, when you are standing in front of these things and you are reading the name, so this bench is right here in front of you, the direction that you're looking at the name tells you which side that this person was on, whether he was on the plane or was in the building. So for this one here, example, you are facing away from the building, okay? Looking at this guy's name, you're facing away from the building. That tells you this guy was on the plane.
Yeah.
This one right here, like for this guy right here, where he's standing, he's reading the name, he is looking at the Pentagon. So this memorial is for a person that was in the Pentagon when the plane hit.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is so subtle that I never would have guessed it had the tour guide not told me.
And it
I would have thought
looks like airplane wings too, kind of.
it kind of does. It kind of does, and I never would have thought of that either if a tour guide didn't tell me that.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of when I started seeing these things. Wait a minute, these look like these are propellers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So and a lot of people they as you can see they leave little things here. They leave coins and
Yeah,
stuff.
little possessions.
Yeah. So I thought this was just a very unique way of doing tributes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly like nothing else I've ever seen anywhere else before.
No.
And the way that they had it from when you first walk into this, it is over here. So the first memorial you see is the youngest, and then you work your way down to the oldest, which was this one right here.
Wow.
And definitely this memorial here would hit harder than anything else for the day, simply because of it being the freshest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, for some of the veterans that were on our flight, the Vietnam Memorial hit them the hardest.
Right.
But that was also the nastiest thing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I was able to get a quick picture of this.
Oh wow.
This is on the other side of the highway from the Pentagon, and it's basically the Air Force Memorial.
And you guys just drove past it. You guys didn't get out to go see it.
No, I don't think there is a way to get out and see it.
It's basically like a landmark, just to be seen on the road, basically.
Yeah. And then from there, we cross the Potomac River and actually get into Washington, D.C. This is where we started doing the little tour of the city itself. So we got to see the Washington Monument. And then something that I noticed is that there are two different styles of brick in the Washington Monument. When they started building the Washington Monument, it was before the Civil War had started. Hello. And once Civil War hit, they stopped construction on the Washington Monument and started working on it again after the Civil War, and this time using different colored tones of brick. So you can see exactly where they stopped.
Yeah. Okay.
It actually, in fact, you can see it.
While you're looking that up, I just want to say I can wait. It can wait. Oh yeah. Yeah. I can see the difference.
Here's the line where they stopped. So this part right here was built before the Civil War, and then
the rest of it
was after the Civil War.
I can see by the change, like different coloration.
Yeah. I noticed that, and I was actually getting ready to raise my hand to ask our tour guide this because he was explaining the monument to us. But before I had to, it was like he read my mind. He said, now, if you notice, there's two different styles in the brick. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. And seeing this thing is nothing like seeing it on TV.
Oh no, it always looks the same on TV. The coloration.
Now, I was in Washington when I was 8 years old, or 7 or 8. Mom and Dad took me, and we went all over the place. And I vaguely remember going up to the top of the monument. And I don't remember this, but Dad remembers this. When you're up at the top, you can feel the building sway back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Not
Like Sears Tower. You
You
could
know
there
what?
too.
Just be glad because there's actually video footage of it. People who've been inside the Washington Monument during an earthquake, and man, when an earthquake occurs, that thing really moves, and that just sent people running down the stairs for their lives. So just be glad you weren't there during an earthquake. That would have been worse.
and who would have thought that an earthquake could be felt in Washington?
It's happened. I mean, they're not hugely like powerful like you see in California, but it does happen though.
Yeah. So we see that. We can also see a few other things off in the distance. We went by Capitol Hill. That was pretty cool to see. There in front of Capitol Hill, there is a monument statue for James Garfield, who was assassinated, I think, right there on that spot, if I remember.
I think so. I believe so.
So they put a monument over there. They also took us to the National Archives building, Library of Congress. We drove by there. We drove by the White House. Was able to see the back. No, was it the back of it? I got a picture. Maybe no, not that one. I know I have it.
Chris was asking about the monument. Isn't that where evil Superman broken in half?
Here it is. I have no idea, Chris.
Happens in Oklahoma, same in Colorado sometimes. They're talking about the earthquakes. Oh, the White House.
Yeah, so this is the back of the White House.
I thought that was always the front.
I don't know. I think this here is actually where the president sits.
Okay.
I think that's the Oval, or up here, the Oval, one of these two. But we were just driving by there. We weren't stopping because we were headed to the World War II Memorial. That one was an awesome place to be. Now I have a series of pictures of this one here. So here's the fountain.
Now, is there a rhyme or reason to the number of the little sprinklers, or
Not the sprinklers, I don't think.
I was going to say that looks more like for decoration than anything else.
But they do have 56 of these pillars.
Oh, wow. Check that out.
One representing each state. And also, if you look, one representing each American territory.
The territories, Guam and American Samoa. So that explains why there's 56 of them.
Yes.
Indiana.
Yeah, somebody had brought an honor flag. Now, here's another part of this trip that most people don't realize. There is it's like an honor flag. This flag here was given to the widow of somebody that died in the war, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So since that person wasn't able to go, sent the flag in his place.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really, one thing I just want to point out about these pillars that represent the United States and territories. I understand the honor flights, but I'm actually more surprised that they don't have anything like with the state flags of those of the respective pillars, naming themselves after the state. I'm surprised they didn't have something with the state flags themselves.
Some of them didn't have flags back then.
That is true, yeah.
Well, no, are you talking about the state flags?
Yeah,
Yes,
but like the
state
Samoa
flags.
territory.
Yeah, but like-
The territories have their own flags too.
What's that?
Well, that's what he was asking. Why wouldn't they have their?
There
Their
are actual state flags, yeah.
On these pillars?
Yeah.
That I don't know, but if you look, they have little wreaths on every one of them. Like this one here is the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
But every one of these pillars has these wreaths.
Hey, Stuart.
I'm gonna say it's so that they don't have to change it out every time it fades out. Those are meant to stay.
Yeah, those are like meant to last forever.
Mhm.
Well, you can always do stone versions of the flags too.
Yeah.
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 And also on either end of this thing, you have one saying the Atlantic and the other one saying Pacific, which I thought was pretty cool.
And that's what I'm assuming,
Pacific.
like the Atlantic side of the states and Pacific side of the states, if that's correct.
Well,
Along
from
the
where we were
territories.
at, I don't think that the Atlantic and Pacific pillars were directly in line with the actual ocean.
No, I think it's now that I'm thinking about it, like if they fought on the Atlantic side or the Pacific, if that's right.
And this is how close we were to the Washington Monument for the World War II.
Awesome. Mars Hill, Maine. Welcome, Stuart. It's a new viewer here.
What is with the pink building?
Oh, what is that?
Truck.
Oh, it's
The truck. It's an ice
I was
cream
like,
truck.
what the heck is that?
That's
Ice cream truck. Check that out.
Holy cow! There had to have been 100 food trucks just on this little ride that we went through from the Pentagon to here.
Now, your dad, what war did he fight in?
He did not actually go to war. He was in the service during the Cold War, which is technically not a war.
Okay.
No,
It was like the Cold War is basically the tension between the U.S. and the Soviet Union.
Soviet Union.
That
I know what we have now.
Well, and this was a type of event too, where they did not want to make it an actual war because they didn't want to basically erupt it into World War III, which again, like you just said,
that's exactly what it would have turned into.
that's what it would have done. And what's funny, what you just said, Adrian, it's like, but fortunately, it seems like we're getting
We're
to
there.
that. Yeah.
So which one of these things resonated with your dad the most?
I don't think any one did for him. It was just a culmination of everything.
I just wondered if maybe he knew people from the certain eras or.
Well, that said, he said he cannot remember their names, but he did know a couple of guys that went to Vietnam.
Okay.
Okay.
But he cannot remember their names. And when Dad got his discharge from the Marines, it was just months before war was declared on Vietnam.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So he would have been in that era had he not have.
Because it
Right.
didn't start, because obviously Vietnam didn't start until 1955, the Vietnam War.
Well, that's good because if he hadn't have got his discharge papers, Jeremy wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
Oh.
I wouldn't be here, and this network wouldn't be here.
No, not at all.
But
Nope.
here's Dad. right here in this jacket.
Who's the
Now-
guy behind him that's an oddball? He's wearing gray. Or
Oh yeah, he looks like he's wearing like a white sweater or something.
Dad is wearing a tan jacket.
okay.
Okay. Now
got
I
cold?
gotta
Even though the weather was perfect, it was still just a little cool for his taste.
He wasn't
Now-
walking. That's
Yeah.
part of it. He was just sitting.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask because, and this is kind of a similar question that you asked, Adrian, is that now a lot of the guys that are in this picture were these guys that like your dad actually knew personally, like from
No.
years ago? Okay.
No,
No, they
they are
gather
all
people.
from
that-
different wars. We actually had one guy on this entire flight that was from World War II.
Oh well, okay, so there was
Yeah.
They
you-
are
okay.
so few and far between.
Yeah. Well, especially now since a lot of them
Yeah,
sadly
right.
have been passing away, there's not as many of them as there were
Yeah.
20 years ago. Both my grandfathers were World War II veterans. Huh?
I was surprised that there were any.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's
we had one
only
guy on this flight that served in World War II, and I was talking to the lady that is the leader of this hub on a flight. She has 6 more people from World War II
Jeez.
trying to get onto this flight.
wow.
Wow. Because like I was saying, I mean, both my grandfathers, they were in World War II and they've passed since. So but
Yeah.
geez,
So
wow.
in 2023, there was 119,550 left. That was the beginning of the year.
Hard to believe that there was that many.
Yeah. I understand that there's still a lot of them from like Korea. I mean, from Vietnam or even
That's-
Korea.
that sounds right.
But World War II,
Yes.
World War II, like wow.
I'm going to guess this guy here is probably the World War II guy.
He looks older. He does look older than the other ones do.
Yeah, well, this guy here could be too, but it's really
Well,
hard.
actually, the guy with the yellow clothing kind of looks like he's older too. I mean, he's got to be at least somewhere in his 80s or maybe even early 90s.
Now,
Okay, I did have to double check that.
in World War II, they're in their 90s minimum.
That's what I mean. I'm just
But-
saying if he is, yeah.
I
There
do
really
point
is.
out this guy right here. I want to point this guy. Look.
Oh,
now,
whoops.
Look at this
Yeah.
guy right here. Jet
Elvis.
Blair.
Jetpack. Yeah, I was gonna say Elvis.
He is straight out of the 50s.
He is. He's not
Never
even wearing a
left.
hat.
He never left.
Elvis has left the building,
No, I don't think he did. I think he's right there.
but he's like the only one who's not wearing a hat.
He's got a tan. But no, it is true. 119,000 as of 2023 out of 16 million.
Okay, maybe not. There's a guy in the back who's not wearing a hat either. One's wearing a cowboy hat.
There is another guy
Okay.
I want to point out. It is very hard to see, but this
Oh.
guy right here,
Yeah.
you can't see it because of how pixelated it is, but he braided his beard and he had 4 little things sticking out.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's
I-
just
I-
like
I went up to him. I don't remember when, but I went up to him and I was like, dude, I love your style.
Okay, go out just a tiny bit more. Just a tiny. Okay, right there. No, go back. Okay, that dude right there.
Which
I
one?
think you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. I love that dude. He's amazing.
This one?
oh, this
Yep.
guy
Yep,
with the beard.
yep, absolutely.
The guy on the left, Robert says, looks like Walter Matthau. I guess that's what he's talking about.
I can see that.
Yeah.
These guys have all absolutely earned every bit of
They
what they're
did.
doing.
Ed just said families have to fight to get their family's name. Oh, that's for the monument. Okay. Yeah, I know. These guys really, they did their part.
Absolutely.
And,
How-
and also, this is another thing that I didn't know until we got to the airbase this morning. Each of these veterans received a hat.
Well, I was saying, well, how come not all of them did? Because there was, like I said, the guy who looks like Elvis, he didn't have a hat.
He didn't wear it, but every one of them received a hat, and it says Army veteran, Navy veteran, Air Force veteran. Every
Yep.
one of them.
I saw one that said Vietnam veteran.
No, these guys wear their hats.
It's not. It's
Very
not.
proud.
It's not the war. It is the branch that they serve. They
Yeah.
have got a Marine veteran.
Yeah.
It's all whichever branch that they served in. That's what was on their hat. You will not see a hat that says Vietnam veteran or
No.
it is Army, Navy, Air Force.
They do have them, Vietnam vet, things like
Yeah,
that.
there
They
is.
do
That's
have
what I
them.
said. Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, but not these hats.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So this here is the whole World War II memorial.
That's cool.
Here is the Atlantic. We are standing in the Pacific. The Atlantic Ocean is actually over here. And
Oh, so you guys are not too far from the ocean itself.
No. The direction of the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, okay. You're right. Okay.
So why they did it this way, unless my sense of direction was off. But this was high noon, so it was impossible to tell what direction was what here. But
Yeah.
the way that I was feeling, the Atlantic Ocean is off in this direction.
Okay. Yeah, it says that in World War II there was not an Air Force; it was the Army Air Corps. But a lot of people didn't know it.
Okay.
Air Corps. Okay.
Air Corps, yeah.
And also while we were there, we were able to get this special stamp on our little placards. Let me bring it back up here. You're not going to see the stamp, but these are the placards that everybody got. If you notice, everyone is wearing them around their neck.
We can have them.
Yeah.
It had their names and what they served in, and also in between the placard, they had medical information, prescriptions that everybody was on. They did that for the veteran and the guardian,
Okay.
so that if anything happened, look in here and you got your medical information that you need.
That's really smart.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
And if you notice the things that these guys are wearing, yellow, blue, white, red, that's how you know what bus you're in.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering you said the red, white, blue, and yellow buses, I would assume it had something to do with the buses, or the color of the buses.
Yes.
That's smart. They have that down.
Yeah, they really do.
Well, we were flight number 46. So we were the 46th flight out of Fort Wayne. They have been doing this since 2009.
How often do they do it?
3 or 4 times a year. Give or
Okay.
take.
Should have had an AirPod too in case someone wandered off.
Well, then I think that was another reason why we were all color coordinated, so that if somebody did wander off, you can be able to look and see.
And that's why they had guardians.
Well,
Yeah. That too.
but the veterans were wearing red, guardians wearing light blue. The volunteers were wearing green.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know if
You know what? I just got it. I do have a question. I mean, because it's Robert's watching from Australia, I can't help but wonder, Robert, do they do anything like that also out in Australia, like an honor flight? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think Australia's had too many wars.
No, but they have assisted on some occasion, like on some
Mhm.
occasions, just not as frequently.
Yeah, they're not assholes like we are sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. But still, just out of curiosity, though, because they do have, you know, their own Air Force and military bases.
Here is our tour guide.
Is now the shirt that he's wearing, is that the actual, like you said, the volunteers were wearing green? Is that the shirts that they were all wearing, or is that?
He is a tour guide from there in Washington. So that is the tour guide company shirt.
Okay.
Um,
Motor coach.
Motor coach, not bus. Jeremy.
Yeah, motor
excuse me.
motor coach. Yeah, because he yelled it out before.
Now looking at this guy, I guess he would be older than late 40s, but he sure didn't act like it. No, he wasn't the driver. This guy here is the tour guide.
I was going to say he's the tour guy.
Yeah, he's our tour guide. I took this picture while we are on the road, so this guy is never sitting down.
Oh.
Sean just wants to remind everyone now. Remember, he isn't a bus driver.
No, he's not.
Robert just answered my question. ANZAC, ANZAC Day was just on April 25th.
I have no idea what Anzac.
I will look that up.
That's yeah. No, because that was probably the answer I was looking for. Oh, there you go. Australia, New Zealand troops celebrate. Remember those that fell in
Okay.
I can't say Gallipoli. Yeah. Okay. So it's based for both Australia and New Zealand. Okay.
So it looks like that they do have something similar to what we do.
That's probably what Robert's talking about then.
So our next stop, which I thought was the last stop, and this here is Vietnam.
I was going to say that looks like Vietnam.
Yeah, so this one here is actually 3 memorials in one stop. The Vietnam Wall, the Korean Memorial, and Lincoln Memorial.
Wow.
Dad and I did not get to see the Korean Memorial because of timing.
Right.
So we didn't get to see that. But we did go to the wall.
Awesome.
Again, he could not remember the name of the guys that went to Vietnam. Otherwise, we would have tried to find their names.
Oh, there's Lincoln Memorial. Yeah.
Lincoln Memorial. Now, they originally told us that we couldn't get into the Lincoln Memorial because they are redoing the steps.
Oh, really?
But what they didn't know was that there were ramps available that we could go up. And let me tell you this, pushing him up those ramps to get to this thing, because this thing is high up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Anybody that's been to the Lincoln Memorial, you know what I'm talking about. It is high up. So going up the ramp, pushing him was not the easiest thing. And I thought it was going to be much worse coming down. Turns out it wasn't.
Oh my God.
So here we are, right up to it. Now I tried to get to where I wanted to have him sitting right in front of, not where he was at, but more centered. But there were so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say.
Yeah, there was no way. This is the only way I was going to get the shot.
Mm.
Real quick, Robert, just he got a little bit more specific. Anzac Day, it's a national day of remembrance in Australia and New Zealand that broadly commemorates all Australians and New Zealanders who served and died in all wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations, and the contribution and suffering of all those who have served.
That's awesome.
So that is the Australian equivalent to our Memorial Day.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically the best way he's described it.
Yeah, which Memorial Day is coming up in a couple weeks.
Yep, that's right. Last Monday in May.
Last Monday, yes.
Yeah, going down. It's like playing pedestrian bowling in a wheelchair. Yeah, I'm sure it must have been.
This here is a picture of the Washington Monument from up there at the top of the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, yeah.
So this a great vantage point. And right here, this is the World War II Memorial.
That's interesting how it's like right in between all of this, the memorial.
It's all in a line because we're at the Lincoln Memorial. This is the Washington, the World War II Memorial, Washington Monument, and Capitol Hill right there.
Capitol Hill. Yeah, you got everything all in a line.
Well, they did it that way. They did all of Washington, D.C. very strategic because the White House is just off in this direction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Not sure this question. Where are the three fingers curled up?
What?
I don't know what. You know what I was thinking when he first said that? I thought he was talking about that monument that had the things kind of bent that you guys said you saw off the highway. That's what I was thinking.
Are you talking about like this one here?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
So I'll tell you a little story while we're looking at him. He's actually, I was adopted, but he is actually my adopted cousin. My grandma used to tell stories. He was a teenager. He'd come to our house. His hands, as big as you see them there, they would cover somebody's head. He had almost like gigantism.
Oh, he was a big man for their time. He was 6
Yeah,
foot
he was.
4, 6'5".
Yeah, it was almost like just a few inches taller than me.
But his hands were so much bigger than anything else. And they would scare people.
I see where Robert's going. No, talk about the monument. It could be the middle finger because it's like sticking in the middle of it.
Oh my.
Well, think about what he did in his younger days. He used to be a lumberjack.
Yep.
He also used to be a wrestler.
Lincoln used to be a wrestler. Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it wasn't televised back then. So
Well, yeah. I know they didn't have TV back then,
know
but
about it.
they had no clue that he used to be a wrestler. It's like,
Well,
I can't even picture it.
what they did then is not like the wrestling that we know now.
Okay.
The wrestling that they did then, I would guess, is probably more of the Greco-Roman amateur style wrestling,
Vampire Hunter.
the Olympics, high school, that kind of wrestling.
Yes, he was.
I love that movie. I love it, by the way, Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, that'd be great. No steel cages, Chris is saying?
No. He was very, very
Look at
polite.
the detail. Look at the fingernails. Look at the detail.
Yeah, I know. So detailed.
Mhm.
They did a wonderful job on this monument.
They really did.
They did.
But
They
still, him being a wrestler, who would have known? I never would have.
Oh yeah, Lincoln did all kinds of stuff before he even entered the world of politics.
And he didn't want to. He had no mind to do that.
No, he didn't. And it turned out that he was one of the greatest politicians ever.
Yeah.
He didn't want to.
Well, and what's funny is that he also delivered one of the greatest speeches ever during the time of the Civil War. Lincoln versus Taker Coffin match.
He delivered.
The area is haunted. I imagine it is,
I can
and
imagine
I
it
can
is.
tell you, it is not with those soldiers either. They're not going to be there where their stones are. It's with the people that think they're there.
Look
I
at takes to the ropes, jumps on hacksaw Jim Duggan.
hauntings there.
What's that?
I would say there's probably a lot of Native American hauntings there.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's got
Oh,
squirrel.
so after this, we had one more stop. It was at the FDR Memorial. This was also where we were getting dinner. It was like a pulled pork sandwich thing.
Oh, that sounds good.
It was good. So we get there. Dad and I did not go into the monument, which is or the memorial, which is an outdoor thing. And what it is that there are 4 separate rooms. And each room is like a different aspect of FDR's life. Like one of them represented happiness. One of them represented like sadness. I forget what it is, but each one of them represented a different aspect of his psyche
Or emotion almost.
emotional state. Because FDR was our longest reigning president.
Mhm.
And he saw us through World War II. So just imagine what he was going through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're eating, and Dad and I are visited by this little guy
That's what I was saying, a squirrel.
or girl, which some people think it is.
It is a girl. Do you see those titties there? She's pregnant.
Okay, so we get visited by this female squirrel, and I'm calling out, don't even think about it, because I know exactly what she wants. She wants her. So and then Dad starts saying the same thing as I was saying. Don't even think about it. And she's hanging around there, and then she crosses the little walkway that we were at. And while I'm eating, because it's all pulled pork, so it's not together, a piece falls out, falls onto the floor. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll toss it over. She grabbed it, started eating.
And now you could have left that part of the story out because I thought you were nice enough to feed her.
We were hungry. She's got plenty of food out there. Trust me.
I'm sure there were a lot of acorns around.
And then some.
She's tired of them.
What
Zombie squirrels.
what you don't see is where we were at. There's this little walkway. Then there's this patch of grass that she's on. Then there's another sandy walkway that looked like it was blocked off. And then there's a river. Yeah, we had such a wonderful view. I never got that view. I never got it on camera. I should have. But we had a great view of the river while we were eating. And then when Dad's done with his sandwich, he starts digging into the little cup of baked beans that he had. So he thought he was going to be nice and throws out a couple of spoonfuls of baked beans for this squirrel. She comes up there and nibbles on it and then walks away. She didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Pork and beans. and Tom, if you're talking about Lincoln, no, that was George Washington who's on the $1 bill. He's on the Lincoln's on the $5 bill.
Yeah. So, where am I at here? Okay, so we're done with the FDR Memorial. That was our last stop of the day. And then we're going back to the airport, and we're going back through downtown Arlington, which is crowded. Keep in mind, this is roughly 7 p.m. So any day in Washington, D.C. and Arlington at 7 p.m., rush hour, keep in mind, our motor coach operator is cutting people off.
Oh, jeez.
Well, they all were, to be honest.
Probably
And
because he kept being called bus driver so much.
well, four of them all had to make sure they stayed together. Oh, and one cool thing, when we went from the World War II memorial to the Vietnam memorial, we actually had a police escort take us.
Really?
Yeah, take us from one to the other. We saw the police. This one police car come up and get in front of the first bus before we took off, and we're thinking, "Oh, did something happen? What's going on?"
No,
And it
Rich.
turned out that the police was leading us to the next stop. And I thought, "Oh, I sure hope he stays with us to take us back to the airport because we're going to need it." No, it was just that one. So we go back to the airport, and we got to go through this little security area, and because of us being on a flight, everything's already checked out. We did not have to go through TSA and all of that. We didn't even have to go through we couldn't go through the metal detector because pacemakers.
No, I was going to say, and sometimes also you have, what is it? Sometimes the wheelchairs can also spark off the metal detectors too.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but we don't care about wheelchairs. The pacemakers can be severely affected by their
Yeah.
metal detectors.
Yeah.
And I have no clue. For all I know, half the veterans had pacemakers.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So we go through there, get to the plane, and luckily we were all able to sit in the same spot. Now, Dad and I did not sit together. He sat in first class, and I sat in the first row of the economy class. And I forgot how long that plane is. And the same guy that sat next to me coming to Washington sat there as well. And we were both actually under the impression that everybody sits in the same spot. And I think most people try to sit in the same spot. So we take off, and it's more of the same: storytelling, singing, over the PA system. And then came the surprise. What us Guardians knew, but the veterans didn't know. Now, for anybody who has served in the military, and I'm pretty sure this is Australia did the same thing. I might be wrong, but for our military guys, when they didn't get mail on the regular, like normal people do. So they have this thing called mail call, which sometimes they receive a bag of mail while they're on flight or when they're service overseas or wherever. So it was our job, and this is where I was posting all the time, to get people to send cards and stuff like that. And a lot of people sent cards. Some people even sent gifts too. So they distributed that to all of the veterans on the plane. And then what we didn't know was that the Guardians were also getting a certificate, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we got all of that. We land in Fort Wayne, and this was the biggest of the big. Dad and I were the second to last to come out of the plane, and there's nobody there. Nobody in the terminal, nobody in the whole concourse area. We're on the second floor. Of course, it's late, 11 o'clock. People don't want to be in the airport. We get in the elevator to come down, and we go through this little section, and then we get out to the luggage claim area. 2 rows of 300 people at least. From the entrance of the baggage claim, from where the passengers come out, all the way to the exit doors.
Jeez. Wow.
There are people lined up. Trying to find a video for this.
While you're looking for that, Jeremy, Robert, to answer your question, he said maybe he hasn't heard of it, but it's possible. But he also says the Anzacs had a game with 2 pennies on a board called 2 Up. So, yeah, I've been in a wheelchair for the last 6.
Robert, don't
Please.
you even think about it.
Don't even think about it. But no, other than that, though, I mean, what he said is that it sounds that's interesting. What he brought up about that they have this this game of Anzacs, well, with Anzacs, excuse me. Hope I'm saying it right.
It is interesting what people do when they're at war, and it's kind of the same thing as, what the kids did 100 years ago when they had nothing.
No.
Okay, here is. Look at all these people.
Holy cow.
Imagine that all the way through. There was at least 300 people. Let me get the volume. There was at least 300 people.
Oh, and is that the first ones coming through?
No, that's me and Dad.
I was going to say that's you.
Okay.
And these are like people like don't even know you guys. They were just waiting.
There's little
That's
kids. Look, there's
Yeah,
kiddos.
there's kids. There's like kids. There's like it looks like one of them. There's a teen. I mean, there's like people of all ages at this thing. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, these were people that came out for the veterans. It basically welcomed them home, like they were just coming home from service, coming home from war.
Yeah,
Look how
Wow.
tired he looked.
he obviously had a great day.
He had a long day, that's for sure. But keep in mind that the whole day, Dad's also in pain because of his neck.
Right, right.
I may have mentioned this earlier, but the curvature in Dad's neck is curving forward.
Oh, okay. So I remember you said with his spine, yeah, but I didn't know about this with his neck. Okay.
Yeah, the spine in his neck is curving inward, and he has been seeing a chiropractor to try to straighten it out. When this started happening, he could not turn his head at all.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So with the help of the chiropractor and also forcing his neck, he's able to turn his head. But yeah, this is 11 o'clock. Well, past 11 o'clock now. I'm guessing pretty close to 11:30 at this point. Because we were almost the last ones off the plane.
Well,
And-
that's amazing. Like it was so late that families were willing to bring their kids to something, at this late night event just to see all these veterans coming
Yeah.
home.
So all of these people were clapping for him and shaking his hand. Thank you for your service. Welcome home. Good job, and all of that. And some of them even praised me because I was the one pushing him in the chairs. Like, don't praise me. This is
Yeah, but look how many of them don't have any family that will do that for them.
Yeah.
well, every one of these guys had a guardian.
Yeah, but how many of those guardians were caretakers that were not even family?
Well, that make valid points.
It's true. Yeah.
But it was going through that was an experience like nothing else, even for me.
Yeah.
So we get through that. We get on the bus to go back to the air base. This time I made sure that he had bolt locks on his. So we get through there. We get up back on the air base. They take us right up to where we were parked. And then we got home at midnight. And he did not go through the mail call that he got until Saturday. We were going to do it on Friday, but we put it off until Saturday, went through all of these cards that were sent in, not only from my people, but there were schools that sent in cards.
Mm-hmm.
And there were also not just cards, but little notes on construction paper and just a ridiculous amount of stuff in this bag of his.
Wow.
So he couldn't believe it. And on Friday, he saw the video. The video turned out better than I expected it to. And he was just absolutely speechless.
And he doesn't know very many of us.
He doesn't know any of you guys.
Yeah.
He knows us. He knows us. We were on the show.
Yeah. I was gonna
And
say,
he knows me. He calls me when your ass is in the hospital.
I know. Yeah, well, he even asked me after we were on that show, Adrian, she's the one that I had to call that one time, right? Yeah, that's her.
did he remember me?
Yeah.
And what do you
Yep.
think of? I gotta ask, how did he react with mine? I mean, because I had my parents in that one.
He didn't call out any specific video. It's just that the whole package,
Okay.
Yeah.
there were normally nearly 20 of you
Mm-hmm.
that sent in a thing.
Yeah.
And to think, the week before, I didn't have any.
They
Yeah.
all came very next week.
Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to be doing a video package. I'll just worry about the cards. And then all of a sudden, one person sent in a video. I'm thinking, okay, well, I still can't do anything with just one video.
Yeah.
Then another came in and another came in. And I thought, okay, I've got about 5 videos now. I'm going to push.
Yeah.
I pushed. And next thing I know, I have almost 20 videos. I thought, holy shit.
You weren't expecting that many, perhaps.
Not in that short amount of time, especially
Yeah.
I've been trying to get these videos for 2 months. and now they all come in the last 7 days. I'm thinking, holy cow! Why couldn't you all just send this in earlier?
You on your toes.
Robert's going to send me a link from one of the city's Anzac parades from YouTube. I'll have to send that to you too, Jeremy.
That's awesome.
But it's a good thing because that kept me from being able to put together the package until after this thing, whereas I would not have added all of those pictures and the extra videos and put that music in there.
Yeah.
So the way that it worked out was better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but that's something, the honor flight is amazing. It lets them know that people do remember them, that people are thinking about them, that they are not forgotten. When I first got with Zach, I used to just walk away. I would just walk away because anybody that was wearing a veteran's hat, he would stop and thank them, which I understood that, but some of them, it would scare them. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And so, they need to know that they were not forgotten. And I think some of these younger, it's like in between us, our generation, and then there's the other generation that is cocky about it. They're like, yeah, you're a vet. And then there's the younger generation now past us, our kids as kids, that are very thankful for the vets. They have been taught that again. I don't know how, but they have. And this, I don't know if you can see it, but this is what Zach gives out to the vets when.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. You serve for us. Now let us be there for you. If you need anything, please just call. We will do anything in our power to help.
Yeah. And he hands those out when he sees them.
It was amazing seeing all of these high school, well, some of them not even high school kids, coming up and talking to the veterans, listening to their stories and shaking hands.
And you would think like when it comes to high schoolers, all they care about is just their own lives, just wanting to do what they want. But that's just amazing, though, that they were willing to come up, talk to them, and hear their stories.
It's different generation.
And if you think about it too, it's also probably that kind of scenario where some of these kids probably didn't really have grandparents that really told them stories and stuff like that. So it's almost like a way of learning from the older generation.
I'll tell you what it is. I spent the night with a girl who her dad was in the Vietnam War. And she warned me. I was a doctor's daughter. I was sheltered. I thought what she was saying was way far-fetched. She said, if you hear him get up in the middle of the night, do not move. What? She told me stories about him getting up in the middle of the night and having a gun to her face because he was PTSD.
Yeah.
And he was back in the war. And he had a gun in her face. Never killed her. He was a single dad. And I think that generation skipped. Like, what the hell? These guys are crazy. This is crazy. And then as that generation grew older, realized they went through that much. That's why they're like that. And started honoring them again instead of treating them like monsters.
They added the worst.
Yeah, they did.
They did. They absolutely did.
But they were also made to do the worst too.
Yeah.
If they were made to, that's exactly it. They were made to. Now you have some that will rape and pillage the villages for no reason. We have those in our society. It's no different. But the ones that did what they had to do are the ones that will not speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They will not tell you what they did.
I mean, it's no different because I was just thinking of an example of this, and it has more to do with Vietnam. And I'm sure we've all seen this movie, Platoon, basically, Platoon, where they raid one of those villages, which goes to show as an example that you know, as many wars as we've been in, it shows that even at times, not necessarily everyone, but it did show at times that the American soldiers were not always the good guys. You know, sometimes they did those things, especially in Vietnam, and that just gave them this bad title. But like you said, they just wanted to do what they wanted to do. But if the ones that had to do whatever, like you said, were the ones that don't want to talk about it at all.
Absolute worst position they could not even imagine.
And again, the media
Yep.
said what it wanted to say, not what was actually happening, because back then you couldn't have the media out there on the front lines like you can now.
Yeah.
Like we can send our media with what's going on right now. It's filtered. We're not under any assumption that it's not. But I mean, think about it. They came home and they were booed for fighting for our country. They were put out going, you guys are baby killers. Get the hell away. Just go away.
Well, and Adrian, you probably know this story all too well because, again, like all the talk that I've had, with these motorcycle clubs, like even like the outlaw ones, like, for example, the Mongols that started around that same time in Vietnam, they all said the same thing, was that when they came home, from Vietnam, they just wanted to get back to their lives, and they weren't expecting what they were going to expect when they were spit at the airport and whatnot. Right. And a lot of these guys that form these clubs, a matter of fact, one of the original members who's still alive today, he had said that because he served in Vietnam. And when they formed that club back in 1969, he said, as a matter of fact, he didn't even know that all the other guys were Vietnam veterans because they never talked about it. All they cared about was just try to, in this case, ride motorcycles and just, try to get their lives back together.
Form a camaraderie of somebody who accepts them is what they were doing. And I think in every facet of the military, they had something like that, whether you were in war or whether you weren't, that you were either really loved or really hated. And, I think we should have a lot more respect for the people that gave us what we have right now to be able to do what we're doing right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to speak about this.
See, I think that's what happens.
It's cool that we are able to do what we can to give back.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I just want to throw this out, like, I just talked, like what Sean just said, like with Hell's Angels or Mongols or the clubs. I think that happens, especially, again, for a lot of those who actually did serve in these wars where, and it's not even just those clubs themselves. I think this happens within most wars where a lot of people, they come home and whatnot, and they get this negative reaction, especially after everything they did, fighting for the country, and they're even rejected at times by their own families. And all they're just doing is just looking for a brotherhood where they can relate to each other.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that all of these veterans have, like the VFW and the Legion, so they at least have that they can fall back to.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm just glad we're still honoring them. At any level, because this world has went to shit. So at least, something is holding it up.
Yeah. I would like to see us get involved in some way with these honor flight people. And I'm not talking just us. I'm talking us.
Yeah.
Worldwide. So like that would go in this case too for Anzac in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to. Well, we did talk about this whole thing about rebranding the Things Paranormal Tree. Here we are in May. We had a meeting back in February. We still hadn't been able to make any leeway with it, but we do want to do something. It's just a matter of coming up with the thing that is appropriate for what we do to honor them in our own way, and I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
we always seem to do shit last minute, but it comes out good.
Yeah, it does. That's usually the best stuff, believe it or not.
That's how
it is.
How it happens.
We can't overthink it.
So meanwhile, we are running way over, but I think
Yeah.
this episode was warranted for that.
This one was very important, so it was kind of worth even the overtime for it.
Otherwise, I'd be like, hey, we need to go.
Yeah.
Next week, we are going to attempt to have the Wiccan Sisters on with us again.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Without that noise. Meanwhile,
So,
the whole justice.
so we did. I did hear that they did do a live since then, and somebody was telling me that they were still having that echo problem. So
It will, as long as they're on their phones like that.
So, with that being,
No noise.
next week may or may not have the Wiccan Sisters on for 20 minutes.
Like 20 minutes.
Well, that's about how. I guess we did do a half hour last time.
Yeah.
It wasn't very long. So we're going to try to have them on next week, but we cannot make any guarantees.
We'll see. Only time will tell. But that's why I keep saying fingers crossed, and hopefully it works.
Yeah. So meanwhile, I do hope you guys tune in the same time tomorrow. I will have 13th Dimension on with Terry Crozier from the NSPS
Oh, Terry.
podcast
Awesome.
on my show. Fun guy to talk to. Let me tell you guys that if you haven't seen his show, go to NSPS TV on Facebook, and he does shows normally on Friday nights and Saturday night. No,
Saturday and Sunday nights.
Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great guy to chat with.
Yeah. So I'll have him on 13th Dimension tomorrow. And then next week, we're going to try Wiccan Sisters again.
And then
And
probably the following
tomorrow?
week, probably the following week, if that doesn't work, then we're going to try that a third time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, we have our show, Bloodstains and Broomsticks, and we're actually going to do a murder show that one of us actually knows the people in play.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you're going to have all those.
Would
Sure,
this
you're
be
going to have all the.
know about?
It's Terry, and this is actually a book that was written, and she knew the people that did it. She knew the people that, she knew all the players.
I'm sure you're going to have those cicadas singing in the background.
The nurse that you knew.
No, we have not done that. We do more of indigenous women and two-spirited people.
Okay. So anyway, I'm going to hop on over to Myth or Mystery to watch their show and give Marianne and Greg and Ryan a hard time like I always do. So much fun. If you guys have not seen that show, please tune in and watch them. It is so much fun. But until then, thank you guys so much for playing along and listening to me ramble about my dad.
Well, and Jeremy, I'm just going to say this. After this, I'm probably going to go on another game show myself because Tom Nowley's doing another golf it. So it's probably going to be another time of screaming. Kate's on it now.
Yeah, but Kate's not screaming.
Yeah.
How you even still have a voice is beyond me.
It's beyond me, too.
One of these Thursdays, folks, Nick is not going to have a voice.
Well, no. If you think about it, Wednesday, because I have Nick files then.
Or
That's
Wednesday,
going to be even worse.
Tuesday, probably more Tuesday than anything else.
That's true, yeah.
So until next week, everybody, thank you so much, and we will see you all then. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all.